So what is fascia? Well, fascia is almost like a connective tissue, and it's almost like as a spider's web. It's throughout the whole of the body, and sometimes, particularly on the facial area here and around the mouth, if it gets quite tight, it can actually draw and pull down, and that's when you end up with those sort of marionette lines. So if we can actually release this, this will also help those mouth wrinkles as well. So first things first, you want to obviously start off with clean skin and also clean fingers. Now, it's really important to use a good facial oil. You don't want to be dragging or pulling at the skin. So I have, as always, my Nourishing facial oil here. But whatever you do apply is going to also penetrate in better and deeper as well when we're doing these fascia techniques. So you do want to, if you can, if at all possible, use an organic and very natural facial oil. So applying plenty onto the facial area. Now I'll come slightly closer so you can see. All along the mouth, and then just gliding along the lower part of the face, side of the ears, side of the neck, and down to the collarbone. So before we start on our fascia release, I'm just taking my fingers and I'm just gently, just doing a little bit of gentle tapping in an upwards motion. Now, what this does, this really helps with blood flow and circulation to the area. Also including the lips and all around the mouth. Right, so we're going to do 3 actually. So we're going to work literally around this area here with the corners of the mouth, which droops down. And then we're also going to be work those potential smoker lines. And then on the 3rd exercise, we're going to be actually working with inside the mouth. And then finishing off with all important lymphatic drainage release. So releasing toxins and waste around this area. So first of all, let's work on this area here. And if you have tight fascia around this area, it drags and pulls everything down. Marionette lines and also those jowls. So what we're going to do here is where, if you can look in a mirror and just look to where your line finishes, you want to take your finger and just very gently press. So for instance, I sleep on this side for years. I have enough creased here. So I have this slight line, which I have been working on. It's a lot better. So just where that line finishes, and let's go on to the other side. I always like to even out. You just want to very gently, first of all, press, and then just go in a bit deeper onto that line where it finishes here. And this is a medium touch here. Going in a little bit deeper. And then I like to work in a round circular motion one way. And if you may feel a sort of a few adhesions here, so you can really give that a good massage out. We're not pulling or dragging at the skin. Particularly if you have older skin, we're losing collagen and elastin. So we want to just be nice and mindful. And then just massage in the other direction. And then just holding again. And then for the other exercise with this technique is we're just placing shoulders nice and relaxed, and we're just gently just going to open our mouth up and then just close the mouth. So you can just feel it's just moving around, and we're just really helping with that fascia release. And close, and we're going to do this for another 4 times, so 5 times in total. And again, you may want to just move your finger around it slightly if you feel a slight pocket. 2, and then another time, 3rd time. And then 2 more times. Again, this can become a little bit sticky, so we're just really unsticking as well the fascia. And for the last time. And release, and just give it a nice little massage out here. We worked really hard on this area. And then just a nice massage on the other direction. So if you can hear any background noises, yet again, it's my very noisy Cocker Spaniel in the background. Yeah, she's not silent at all. So we've worked on this muscle here, and we're just really releasing tight fascia within the skin. So we're now working further up here to where those lip lines are here. So what we're going to do first, we're going to do a slight pinching technique, quite light. And so we're placing our thumb where the lip is and the fingers just along the lip line. And just give that a very gentle pinch. And then come along and then further along the lip. And then slowly a bit further along again. This is also getting blood flow and circulation to the lip area. Okay, we can work a little bit down here. If you do have some sort of form of wrinkle under the lip as well, which is not usually addressed. So again, let's now place our fingers right in sort of, so they're touching, taking our thumb and just very gently lifting up with the thumb. And then coming along. And further along as well. And then with the fingers just very gently gliding in an outwards motion. Now if you like, you can also take a couple of deep belly breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, which really does help with blood flow and circulation to the neck and also the head area. And then not forgetting just above the lips. And if you like, you can almost do like a flicking motion. And you can do these once a day, 4 or 5 times a week is great. If you you've got some really sort of strong marionette lines and smile lines, this will really help soften. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the third technique before the lymphatic drainage, and we're working inside the mouth. So we're actually releasing all the tension, the fascia from the inside and the outside. Now you can use gloves for this, or if like me, I like to actually use my fingers so you can really feel what's going on within. Obviously you want clean fingers, and afterwards, once we've finished, we want to wash our fingers and our hands. So we're taking our thumb here and we're placing it into the mouth, and we're going to place the thumb into the mouth, taking our fingers here and just gently, I like to work in an upwards motion. You can come down once or twice, but always make sure you're finishing upwards. You want to be lifting everything up, not dragging anything down. So placing our thumb into the mouth and then starting from the bottom of the line and working our way up, nice and slow. And this is going to be a light to medium touch. Holding just very quickly, hand as an anchor so you're not dragging at the skin. So hand onto the jawline. And let's just do this 3 times. And release. And then on the other side, again, placing hand as an anchor, really important. We're coming all the way along. And again, if you feel a bit of tightness or some sort of adhesions, you can always come back to it again later. So thumb into the mouth from the jawline, and we're working our way almost like in a sort of semi-circular motion. And then release. And now it's time very quickly, because I've used my fingers, my thumb, to just quickly wash the fingers before we finish off with the all-important lymphatic drainage. Clean fingers. So what we're going to do now is we've worked on the area just by the droopy mouth, if you like, so we're lifting everything up. We've also worked between the nose and the lip area, so we're really helping with those sort of smoker lines, if you like. And we've also done a little bit of inside work within the cheek to really help release that tight fascia. So for the final lymphatic drainage release, you want to take your fingers, and I like to just feather light touch, work in an upwards motion and across. Now what we're doing here, including the lips as well, working all along, is we're moving toxins and waste which is within the lymph. And the lymph is very close to the surface of the skin, so you don't need to be heavy-handed, just very nice, light and delicate, working in an outwards motion. I also like to place my thumb under my jawline, fingers along, and again just working along the jawline and above the jawline. But those marionette lines can almost finish, so we're just gliding along, we're not stretching at the skin. And then with the fingers, just gliding down the front of the ears where we have plenty of lymph nodes, and then behind the ears where we have plenty of lymph nodes. And then I always like to take my fingers and just give a little massage all along the bottom of the head, the top of the neck. We hold a lot of tension in this place, so it all affects our head and our neck, so we're releasing any tightness around this area. And if you feel a little bit of a tighter area, just give it a little extra massage. And this is in round circular motions. And then when the fingers are touching, just gliding down one hand at a time with the whole of the hand for more surface area down the big SCM muscle down to the collarbone. And on the other side. And then for the all-important lymphatic drainage release, which is I always like to finish off with, really important from the chin all the way down where our collarbone is. We've got some indentations all along here. And if you just give those a few gentle presses, this will release all the toxins and waste we've moved within the lower part of the face to really help those fine lines and wrinkles, marionette lines into the body, ready for elimination after doing our fascia work.